Hello, it's Lorna. I wanted to film a video because I've been having a lot of physical health tests over the past few months to try and get to grips with what's going on with my PoTS and suspected cardiology type problems. Today I wanted to talk about my experience of having an ECG and what an ECG is, because I have found having quite a lot of these tests, particularly for the first time, quite challenging. I know I might struggle in ways that other people don't, but I know that it definitely helps to have an idea of what to expect if you're nervous about something. So hopefully by talking about it, I might help someone else who's in a similar position. So an ECG stands for electrocardiogram, and basically it's an electrical, a study of the electrical signals within your heart, and yeah, it's something that quite a lot of people refer to. It's quite common. That's the thing. I had actually had them done in the past, before, when I've fainted in public years back. Also in the past when I was suffering from seizures, they would often do it, but I had been unconscious / semi-conscious then, so I had never consciously made the decision to go and have an ECG and be conscious and present during it. So that's why it felt like it was for the first time. Yeah, so it's something that they often do, they can do it at GP surgeries if you, there's concerns that you might have something wrong with your heart, or just I don't know, for general health really. Yeah, so it's something that's quite common. there probably are quite a lot of people who've had one, and yeah, this is what I'm talking about, the standard ECG. So yeah, it was kind of the first test to do when my GP suspected PoTS for me to have, it was their first protocol. And yeah, so the ECG is basically I can't remember how many sensors, but about 12 electrical sensors, which are kind of stickers. Sometimes they have to put a gel on them, and they stick them on various areas of your chest, and then they're all wired up to a machine that records the electrical activity within your heart, and what prints out is basically a squiggly line that you've probably all seen before, and it would just detect if there are any abnormalities. It looks at your rhythm and yeah, stuff like that. What's actually quite strange about the test is that the actual reading, for a standard ECG, is I think only 30 seconds, where you have all the stuff on, you're lying down, and you just have to stay still for 30 seconds and not say anything while they take the reading. But it's only 30 seconds. The main part of it all is getting all the wires on and all the sensors on, checking they're all working, checking the machine's working, and then the actual thing isn't, the actual test isn't long, and then it's taking it all off. Yeah, so it can feel quite a lot of stress for just not very much. But yeah, that's just how the nature of it really, and you kind of get used to it. Yeah, I should probably say from now, that was I had my first ECG, but I've had quite a few since and have gradually become more okay with it. Yeah, the reasons why I was nervous and anxious about the test might be different to other people. Part of it was hadn't had it that done before, just that it was a new thing, but the main thing was about being undressed in front of another person, because yeah, you basically have to be topless, which is more difficult if you are a female. It might feel more uncomfortable for them to put all the sensors on. Something that would have made I don't know, that made a big difference to me, which I would say leads me on to general advice, is it helps to know as much like about the test as possible, like what to expect. So ask questions. Like your GP will probably, if they refer you for one, it's something they probably do all the time, and so don't appreciate that people don't know like what it is and might have questions. So yeah, ask questions. Like I also asked I was referred to like a female nurse to do it within the GP surgery. They were aware that I would find it difficult because I'm not very good about like meeting new people. I am better with females, and I'm not very good with like physical touch in general, like other people touching me. So everyone knew it was going to be something that was difficult, so they booked me someone they thought that I'd get on with. And it is important to note that you can always request like a female member of staff. There's like lots of reasons why people might for different tests, and yeah, so they booked me with a nice nurse, and she was nice, and also booked me like a longer appointment slot because so I could kind of take my time, feel as though I wasn't being rushed, yeah, and just to allow if there were problems to get a chance to get the test done. Yeah, and something like when you're asking a lot of questions, something that helped me to know is that like, I don't know, my level of anxiety about it would have depended very much on whether it was going to be a bra on or a bra off situation. And I looked on the internet and some people were saying it was, or it might be okay if it's a wireless bra, that kind of thing. But I actually it would make it a huge difference to me, and it has. But basically I was told that yeah, I could keep my bra on. That makes a big difference because it does make me feel more clothed. I think sometimes they ask you to wear a non-wired bra, but some like other people I know, like women who've had an ECG, they have actually been told that they need to go braless. It might have something to do with like, I don't know, chest size or bra size, that kind of thing. I wasn't blessed with very much in that department, so maybe that's why I got off lightly. Saying that, there was another time when I was in A&E, and yeah, they insisted that it was like a bra off situation, which I found so much more difficult. And sometimes like it helps just to know, like if it's going to be one or the other, it helps to prepare yourself if you know which. I'd say also, like in general, my experience of ECGs is that your best bet is to go to someone who does them all the time, because it will be like second nature to them. So yeah, my best experiences of having an ECG have been in like the cardiology department of the hospital, where there's like a physiologist or nurse who does like ECGs all day. So that's their job, one after another, ECG, because they can use the equipment so well, they're really quick, and it's so much more efficient. In A&E, some of the stuff, like it's not as common as say that, doing one after another, and so what has caused me a lot of stress in A&E is that like people said the machine wasn't working, or they were struggling to get the stickers in the right place, struggling to stick them on, just because they weren't as well practiced, and it all took longer and was so much more stressful. Yeah, so my advice would be to go to someone who does it a lot. Like the nurse at the GP surgery, she was pretty good as well. She did them fairly often as well. But yeah, like the cardiology department, they seem to be like the best bet in terms of speed and actually getting someone who really knows what they're doing. So yeah, and like even if you have to go like completely topless, they do try to be like dignified about it. You can wear a gown, or like even though it was a bra on situation for me, I did feel better like once they put the wires on, to just like cover myself up a bit, like with just lay like my t-shirt on top of me or scarf, just to make me feel a bit less exposed. Yeah, and they're used to doing that. You can ask for like a blanket to be put over you once the machine is all connected. That helped me as well is keeping as much other clothes on as possible, because yeah, when I was in A&E I was just wearing like a hospital gown and I felt like so much more exposed and vulnerable, and for me this is more like due to like past trauma and that kind of thing, so I'm probably more sensitive to it than other people might be, but I think we can all feel like not like being exposed in front of strangers. So yeah, like my best experiences have been like where I've been wearing leggings or a skirt or something, and I get to like you get to keep on like your leggings. They do, one of the sensors, which is quite weird, goes on your like ankle. Yeah, they have like a sensor on each ankle, so they record your pulse off there. So yeah, you just like sometimes need to roll up your trousers just slightly so that you can get to it. And also like keeping my socks on and actually keeping my shoes on. They said that they were fine with in the ones that I've had in the cardiology department at the hospital. That really helped because I felt like otherwise clothed. And sometimes it's just about asking, that usually they want you to feel comfortable because obviously you need to try and be relaxed to get a accurate reading, so they are very accommodating, and it makes their lives easier if you're more comfortable and relaxed. So yeah, and I brought a friend with me for, I don't know, most of the ECGs I've had, certainly like the first one and the planned ones where I've ended up in A&E, I've been on my own. And yeah, it can help to have another person. Obviously it has to be someone that you're comfortable with and who's like a calming presence. In general, like my friend did, is she just kept on talking to me while I was having all the sensors put on, like kind of partly to distract me. Just, it's a comfort to know someone else is there and you're not on your own. It was really unfortunate actually when I had my first ECG. Despite all this best planning, I got all the machine on and everything, and then the fire alarm went off in the doctor's surgery. They were just testing it, so it wasn't a drill, but I have a particularly, again linked to past trauma, particularly strong fear of like alarms and fire drills. So that was a bit unfortunate, but as we had like time booked, they managed to like calm me down, reassure me that there wasn't a fire, and it might have affected the reading a little bit, like, so they put a note on the system because obviously it made me a bit anxious, but they tried to get me as calm as possible before they actually took the reading. So when I had like the ECG done the first time, it can be helpful if you like ask the person to tell you what they're doing and like to give you control over it. So tell them when you're happy to go to the next stage, because that can often like provoke anxiety if you feel out of control. So yeah, when like the nurse was kind of putting the sensors on, she would like show on herself, I'm going to put this one here, there's that one, I'm going to put this one like here, and then would put it on me. And it was like, it was more difficult, but I would prefer like to know what's going to happen and where it's going to go. And yeah, usually I will like take the stickers off myself, and they often let you do that. If you requested, that will make you feel more comfortable once it's done to take them off. Yeah, something that they usually tell you as well is like that the stickers, they do leave like a kind of tacky, sticky feeling on your skin. Sometimes like you can have a slight allergic reaction to it. For me it's just they've gone a bit like red, and they just say to put some cream on it, but it is really hard to like get off. You have to really scrub at it in the bath, and often yeah, when I've had like an ECG where you have it done in A&E and they just leave the stick tags on, and you suddenly discover that you've got, like when you get dressed the next day, that you've got them like on your body, and then it's even harder to get all the sticky stuff off. So yeah, I guess that's the only like slightly annoying bit of it, but it's not really anything, and it's not on parts of your body you can like see or anything. So yeah, you can take them off yourself, but what I found in the end is that like once I had it done a couple of times, you get to know where all the stickers go. So I actually felt that it was less fuss and it would get it done quicker if like when I went to like the cardiology department where they're very quick at doing them, to like I would just be distracted and talk to my friend, and they'll say, oh, I'm just putting them on now, and just like to go for it, not tell me where they're putting each one. Yeah, and it did help in my case for originally to be shown on like the other person's body, because I'm not very good at even looking at my own body and thinking about parts of my body. So yeah, that might help someone else to request. Or not had like a friend with me or someone to distract me and talk to me, I was allowed to like watch a video on my phone, like so I could turn my head the other way and kind of be distracted, and really that was the only thing that would like allow them to get it done. So yeah, you can bring things to like do in your hand and like distract you. Before, like I've held a shell while I've had it done, because that often helps to like keep me present, because I struggle with dissociation. It's the kind of thing that once you have done once and it's okay, it's like kind of the norm. Yeah, and I've like had so many since that I feel like I've kind of got it down, and it's helped my confidence. I don't worry about it. I've kind of lost count of the amount of ECGs I've had. Yeah, so that's like the standard ECG that they do. Like I have one whenever I have like a cardiology appointment, they always, like a standard procedure, request that you have an ECG like beforehand, just as like a bit of a baseline. I've also had is like a 24-hour ECG. That was very recently, and I got the results back very recently. It was the beginning of January I had my 24-hour ECG. So yeah, I kind of was expecting 24-hour one to be a lot worse, because than it actually turned out to be. Because before, when I was like suffering from seizures, I had to have, I think it was a 48-hour EEG, which is like a similar test where they put like sensors all over your head to detect electrical activity in your brain. And yeah, with that one, it was actually like quite awkward in that, like, obviously your head is covered in them, and yeah, I had to go to work with it, and like the monitor was connected to was like pretty heavy, and it was in a rucksack, and it was awkward like to go to sleep with, because you had to put the bag next to you, remember it was there and move it. So yeah, I kind of had that in mind, that it might be just like a bit annoying, a bit awkward. Again, I was a bit like worried about having it fitted, given that it was going to be like more of a permanent thing, that yeah, that like it might be longer. I don't know what I was worrying about for them to like fit it. Again, like it helped that I requested that I had a female practitioner to fit it. Again, it was at like, I had to go and get it fitted at the hospital, and though it was very quick, like it was kind of running on time, and again it's someone who is like fitting those all day to different people, but actually yeah, there was a lot less to it than I thought, because it wasn't like a full ECG, like you weren't wired up like chest to toe, and I think there were only like, yeah, it was four sensors on your chest, and yeah, which like isn't that much. It was really light, and like the device was like really small. It was the size of a mobile phone, and like kind of the same weight, and it came on a clip, and you should just like clip it onto like your trousers, and no one could see it. It was really discreet, and yeah, the wires you could like just keep under normal shirt. They just said to come like wearing a loose shirt, because obviously it's easier to like hide it and be able to like, so I just went in a shirt like this really, and so all I had to do when they fitted it was just like unbutton my shirt, which again made me feel a bit more clothed, and then they like fitted it all, and yeah, so it was actually quite straightforward. The only thing like you couldn't do with it on was have a shower, but they said like the next day, like the way it works, they say 24-hour ECG, but it's usually a bit less because you have like an appointment during the day to like fit it. This is just the way it works at my hospital, like my local one. And then they said like when you wake up the next day, like you can take it off straight away, and then they need the device back by 9 o'clock. So they said like you can have a shower once you've taken it off, if that would make you feel better, but obviously you can't shower when you've got it on. Yeah, and then you have to return your device by 9 AM because then they will fit it to somebody else and like take your data from it before. So yeah, that's how it worked. And yeah, it was alright to sleep in because like I could clip the monitor onto my back so I sleep on my front. That might be a bit weird, but yeah, it was fine. So it felt quite natural. It didn't really feel that yeah, I barely knew it was there most of the time. I think the only time I'd know it was there is like when I went to the toilet, because obviously it was clipped on my trousers. It was a little bit awkward, like you kind of have to go one-handed and hold on to it with the other. So yeah, that was the only thing that was like a little bit awkward, but yeah, it was pretty good. It was far less like stressful and annoying than I thought it would be. Yeah, all the sensors like stayed on, and they just told you if it comes off, just stick it back on, but they had put them on pretty well. They said it's no big deal if like some of them, if they come off, because like the others will still be picking up some of the readings. What's probably important to remember is that when you have like an ECG, and it's the same for quite a lot of like physical health tests, the person like carrying out the test isn't allowed to tell you how it is, like as in what the results are like, even though they can like see the results straight away. It's in like the reading. They're not allowed to give you any idea of that. It's usually like sent on to your doctor, and then your doctor is the one who would like arrange a consultation and discuss the results. So you might be sent a letter once the consultant's got it. And I think they keep that rule just like because the person, like the physiologist who is kind of doing the test, their job is just to kind of do the tests, and if they would like get to know, they would have some knowledge of like what an abnormal reading is or that kind of thing straight away, but sometimes like they might get it wrong. It's not really their job to say, oh, this is the problem, that's not the problem. They don't have the full picture, so you wouldn't want to be giving out like a falsehood, I suppose, and it's more like the consultants and the doctors kind of job to actually analyse it and give more thought to it and like compare it to other tests. Yeah, because it is a bit different if you have like one done as more of like an urgent thing in A&E, like if it's done by the nurses there, because before I have like, and the doctors, I think it's just more of a quicker process that I have been told, like as the ECG comes out, oh that's normal or this, that and the other. But yeah, I think I did see where this could be like, yeah, the issue could be about the person who's doing the test telling you how it was. Because yeah, obviously you almost sometimes when you've built yourself up for a test, it would be really good to like have the results straight away, and it's hard if someone like knew how it was straight away, like almost have peace of mind if someone said, oh yeah, it's fine. That could be really helpful. But when I was in A&E, they requested that I did like a sitting and standing ECG for like, in order to look at like postural change and kind of look at whether there's something related to PoTS going on, which there was. And yeah, I think it's a healthcare assistant who did my standing ECG. She did it and she said to me, "Oh, it's all fine. You don't have to worry about it." But when she she said it's normal. When she took it to the doctor, actually it wasn't a normal reading. In that it was normal in the and I heard them like discussing it, and the doctor said like it's normal as in there's not an abnormal rhythm, which again is common in PoTS, it's a normal rhythm. She said like look at the difference between sitting and standing in terms of heart rate, and I was tachycardic on standing. So actually, like, had I gone off the impression that the healthcare assistant gave me, it was different to actually what was going on, and I might have thought that there wasn't a problem. Obviously I could feel there was. Yeah, so that's that you don't kind of know straight away, and often you only hear quicker if there is actually a problem. So if you don't hear anything, you just like, yeah, you kind of have to take it that you don't have to worry. Yeah, which can be hard. Sometimes you just think, I wish they'd ring and say, yeah, I've got the result. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so no news is usually good news where any like health tests are concerned. Yeah, so recently I found out my 24-hour ECG result, and I haven't actually received it in person. It was just that I had an appointment with my GP, and she said that she had been, and that was like last week, about a week ago, and she said, "Oh, I have been sent through the results of your 24-hour ECG from cardiology," and she said it has only just come through, and we kind of read the letter together. And yeah, basically the outcome for me was that there was no abnormalities in rhythm, so there's like no, like I don't have an arrhythmia, which is like good news. So I had a normal rhythm basically, but they said there was abnormalities in that, and I think this is quite impressive. And yeah, it might be strange that I actually see this as good news, but I was told that 144 tachycardic episodes were detected within that 24-hour period. Yeah, when you have a 24-hour ECG, they usually provide you with like a diary sheet where you write down your activities, and they say you don't have to write down much because it's sometimes worse if you're worrying about your symptoms, but they said just like write about kind of the main things that happen, as in when you eat, when you go to sleep, and if you're at the time when you're experiencing particularly bad symptoms. But yeah, they said that if you like write down too much detail, it usually tends to make people like just worry more, and it's more stressful, so it's not as accurate a reading. Yeah, and I took that advice pretty well. And yeah, so when I got the results, they said that yeah, the times where I had reported that I had particularly bad symptoms like chest pain, dizziness, palpitations, a headache, nausea, and like was excessively sweating, they said it did coincide with the tachycardic episodes on the ECG. Obviously not all of them. And yeah, it didn't really come as a surprise to me that I had so many. I still think it's quite impressive, but actually that was one of my better days, so maybe it did surprise me a little bit. But for me, I felt good about the result in that it felt validating, in that I was so worried that by this point maybe there wouldn't have been any and it would all be in my head or something, but 144 tachycardic episodes can't be in your head, so it kind of showed, okay, yes, so there's a problem here. And they did say in the results like are indicative of PoTS, like they would suggest PoTS, the diagnosis of PoTS. And they stressed the need for the tilt table test, which is the main diagnostic test for PoTS, which I'm actually having tomorrow. So I think that's why this is all like on my mind. So yeah, to me it felt like, well, it makes me feel better going into the tilt table test, almost feeling like, okay, so yeah, I am right, there is something physical going on. Yeah, it just gave that validation, and yeah, kind of makes me feel like hopefully the tilt table test will just confirm that further, and then I will have reached the end of the road of all these like tests and a diagnosis, a treatment plan. I'll be that further along, because I do have a diagnosis of PoTS at the moment, but it won't be a confirmed diagnosis until the outcome of the tilt table test, which I have waited for ages and ages for, and have had to kind of fight for. My GP has. So yeah, that is ECG. I hope this has been helpful. I think I'll do like other tests, other talks, like videos about the other tests that I've had, because I've also had an echocardiogram, and yeah, and then obviously tomorrow I'm having the tilt table test. So yeah, I think I'll carry on doing that kind of thing. So I hope this is like helpful if you just want to know what an ECG is, just in case you ever have to have one, because yeah, it is pretty common. Like, even if you don't have a chronic health problem, that you might have one at some point in your, that you might have an ECG at some point in your life, and or if you've got one coming at the moment, I hope this has reassured you, or yeah, given you a few things to think about and a bit of advice on how, like, what to ask and the best way to prepare and plan for it. Yeah, because I always find the more prepared and planned you feel, like, the easier it is. That might just be me. I'm someone who responds to like structure and stuff. So yeah, thank you for watching. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more similar videos, and hopefully you'll be seeing another video soon. Bye.